many of the things you want to do with C++ mathematically or arithmetically can't be done just with the built-in operators and commands and functions of the language. You need something called the math library. To add the math library to your program, you need to #include CMath. So you have to add that preprocessor directive to your program. Now I'd like to show you just a overview of some of the functions that are part of the math library. So I've gone to the C++.com reference page for the CMath library, or just the math library. And let's just scroll down and take a look here. We have trigonometric functions, we have hyperbolic functions, we have exponential and logarithmic functions, excuse me, we have power functions, and then other functions, rounding functions, some floating point manipulations, minimum and maximums, absolute value, those kinds of things. So let's just look at a couple of examples from the math library. We'll start off with one. Let's return the floor of the value of num. Give it a second to compile. So you see that the floor, that's the lowest value we can have, is 4. Now let's look at the ceiling, which is another math function. Let's run that code. And you'll see that the ceiling is 4. So it's not precisely a rounding function, especially in the floor function. It doesn't just round down. Rounding down is somewhat, well, it is a round down in the sense that 3.6 rounded down is 3. But normally you would round a number like that up to 4 if you were going to try to work with it. But again, you might want to do a floor instead of a ceiling, so floor is possible. Let's take a look at another example. Let's take the absolute value of -3, and we'll see that that is 3. So absolute value simply negates whatever the current value is, or takes, makes it positive. So positive 3 is 3 absolute value, and -3 is also positive 3 absolute value. Let's reassign number 1 to 9, and then let's find the square root of that, and that's SQRT. Turns out that's also going to be 3, that last value. And let's do one more example. And we're just going to do this with literals. Let's compute 2 to the 4th power. So the POW function has a base and an exponent. The base is the first argument, exponent is the second argument, and it computes. So 2 to the 4th power is indeed 16. So we'll stop there. I could go into the trig functions and some of the other functions, but I just wanted to get you a flavor for how the math library works. And again, if you'd like to learn more about the math library, I would strongly suggest you go to c++.com/reference/cmath, or just search for CMath math library like I did right there, and that will give you the reference page, and you can go into lots more detail about all the different functions that are part of the math library.